All right, guys, we're back on the show. Today we got a very special guest. Today we have Julius Anglickas. I know I
Anglickas,
butchered
yep,
your
yep.
names.
You could.
How you doing today, man?
Good, good. Had some good training today, so feeling a little tired, but it was good.
You're on the show. We'll get it rolling. Get your second
Yeah,
win, right?
yeah.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into the sport of MMA?
I think it was just more like a natural thing after wrestling. Like I wrestled in high school. I did some traditional martial arts while in high school, and when I started wrestling in college, and like the wrestling season somewhat started like coming towards the end, it's like already you start thinking, okay, like what should I do next? Because it's like you if you almost feel like you will be empty without that competitive thing. Like wrestling was for so long, and it's like you can't just stop. Like something else needs to happen. So I just figured like, okay, I feel doing MMA and fighting would be like next step up. That would be like, I guess, cool, I would say. Like
Mm,
part of me says cool, but at the next part it's like it's kind of also what you need to do, that competitive nature.
mhm.
So, but I found a gym when I transferred to St. Louis for wrestling. That's where I
Okay.
met Al Oskulic. He used to fight for UFC,
Okay.
and I think he was. I think if I'm not mistaken, he was like for a first Turkish fighter or something. So he was my grad assistant at college for wrestling, and he like introduced me to Mike Rogers, who's my coach. And but I couldn't go to the gym often at that moment because I didn't have a car. I was still doing my undergrad, so I was like busy, busy, busy. So the second I transferred to Lindenwood to get my master's, I had a little more free time. I had a car, so I was just available. Just had no excuse not to do it. I had time. I had a car, so every day from then on, I was just training, training.
Now, when you were doing undergrad, did you compete at all in
Not
MMA?
in fighting, no, no. I was just
Just training.
wrestling. When I did undergrad, I was busy with school. I was stacked with credits and wrestling. So it was just, plus I had no car, so it was just like, okay, go to class, go to practice. That's it. And I just didn't have that flexibility as much as when I did my masters. So yeah, I just kind of had to like just wait.
Okay. Now, you said you got your master's degree now?
Yeah, I got a master's in teaching PE.
Oh,
So
okay.
for the longest time, I thought I was gonna teach physical education,
Okay.
uh, but I kind of realized that like the more I was trying to get my degree, the more burnt out I started to get. So like I really think like I kind of burnt out. Like I had a passion. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great job. I'm gonna do this, this, and that. Stay involved with sports, teach kids, be a good example, and just going through school, it just kind of burnt out. And it was funny because I started seeing some of my friends who did not go through all the classes or through all the struggle, but somehow they got hooked up and they became teachers. It's like, wait,
Really?
yeah, how did you get this job? Like I did twice as more work than you did. So they went through some kind of little loopholes or something. And but it's all good. I think um, if I would have became a teacher, I would not have been able to do what I do now.
Mm,
So I think it worked out for the best that I did not become a teacher. But at the same time, I mean, it's a nice degree to have, and it's something always I can like fall back on.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So
It's a smart move. You got to think of the future, like when you're
yeah,
old,
I won't fight
you
forever.
don't
So
got to have something to fall back on.
yeah,
So when did you, you went to grad school and you started training more. When did you start doing amateur fights?
when I started training, I think I had my first amateur fight 3 months later, I believe. Uh,
Okay.
I think I started like training like around the late August. Then I trained the rest of the August, September, October, and I remember my first amateur fight was either November or December.
Okay.
So maybe like 3, 4 months of training, and then I had my first amateur fight. That was MMA, and since I wasn't getting hurt or anything else, I was just racking fights, especially in amateur. Since you're new, people don't know much about you. You can just consistently fight. So within 6 months, or like when I had my first fight, 6 months after that, within that 6 month period, I had 13 fights. That's MMA and boxing included.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it was within that first, I think after the first MMA fight, I might have had a Golden Gloves, novice Golden Gloves, so I won that. Those were my first boxing fights. Then I had Open Golden Gloves. Then I think it was like another MMA fight, another boxing fight, then kickboxing fight. Then it was this MMA tournament. Then another boxing fight, another MMA fight, and then no fights for a few months. And then it was just like, all right, like this just stopped. So I think it's a good time to go pro.
Uh-huh. Now, what's your record now as pro? 6-1, I think. I saw
6-1 right now. Yep.
1, yeah. Now, when was your last fight? Did you win like some title or something? I think I saw.
Yeah, my last fight was February. What was it? 15th, I think, or something. Yeah, it was the LFA title. So that was on Access TV. So that's my biggest accomplishment right now, because LFA is a really big deal. And this whole year so far has been successful because I did not fight for a year and a half because of injuries.
Okay.
And I couldn't find fights. So for the longest time, I was like, this sucks. This is horrible. This is not even my home, because I'm from New York originally. So St. Louis is not even my home. My parents kind of keep whispering you probably should stop this. So it's I continuously had these things in the back of my head. For example, I had to have a fight. I waited towards the fight 4 weeks until then. Boom, meniscus injury. Had to get a surgery. All right.
Wow.
I come back from that. Okay, that had to be in May. Then in July, I had another fight scheduled. Month before that, rib injury. Had to back out from that. And for that, then we were hoping more fights in September. That did not happen. Fights in December. That did not happen. They just couldn't find opponents for me. My record was still small, so they didn't. I guess promoters didn't care too much to put somebody for me. So yeah, for a year and a half, I either had injuries or just no fights. So that was mental frustration. It's you're on the verge of giving up and stop doing this. But everybody will just, your turn will come, your turn will come, your turn will come. This is exactly how it goes. Your turn will come, just keep going. And I remember, when was this? A year ago, April, May, around May, I had a 1 week notice boxing fight.
Okay.
So my striking coach was do it. You're going to beat this guy. Plus you need it. There's no way this guy can beat you. The guy had 50 fights, 50 pro fights.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but he had more losses than wins.
Okay.
Which still kind of means okay, he's been there as a pro for a long time, so he still has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. But for the most part, it wasn't bad at all. I was kind of surprised how easy it was, that I kind of blame myself for not even trying more things in the fight. It's I was just jab was just snapping his head back, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I was wow, this 1-2s work so easily. And so after that, it's okay, I'm back in the game. I had first fight again from year and a half. Then I had the LFA fight on maybe 6 or 8 weeks notice.
Okay.
So I won that. That was my first LFA. And for me, that was the biggest deal because it was on Access TV. So I was on the TV for the first time. So that was in May or June 8th, I believe. That was June 8th. Then I fought in October or late September, early October. Then I fought again in December. And then I had the LFA fight in February. So I had a 1-2 boxing fight, LFA, Nebraska, St. Louis, and then back to Iowa. So within 1 year, I had 5 fights. So from not fighting for a year and a half, I went back and I had 5 fights in 1 year.
And that
So,
last one you won the belt though, right?
mhm.
Ah, okay.
So it
Now,
was complete a big turn. What was that?
what's your immediate plans now in the future? You got anything like big coming up?
Yes. So right now I'm at the Contender series.
UFC Contender Series, yeah.
Yep. So that's a big deal right now. So now that's the biggest deal right now. I was supposed to fight July 2nd,
Okay.
but I think that's International Fight Week or something. They have like big
Yes.
fights that weekend. So
Yep.
I guess it was just too much to deal with. So they pushed me in August. I don't think I can say a date yet. I'm not sure
Okay.
how many of those Contender series are, but yeah, they pushed me in August. I'm not sure if there is already mentioned in any articles or whatever, but so yeah, can't give a clear date just yet. I know, but I just can't like announce it just yet.
Oh, that's
So yeah,
cool.
that's the biggest thing right now, and I'm fighting a pretty tough guy who same record as me,
Okay.
and he lost to the same guy that I lost to. So that's interesting.
Oh, that is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, I just started watching that UFC Contender Series. It was like because I just got the ESPN Plus subscription. I think before it was on UFC Fight Pass. So how does that work? Do they go to different parts of the US and then they have like because for me on TV it looked like it was one event and they had that new building that they have. So when your time comes, you're going to be going to them, not them coming to you, correct?
Yeah, it'll be in Vegas. So what happened past 2 summers? What I believe, all the fights took place in Ultimate Fighter, the
Yeah.
show. So
Okay.
all the fights took place at that exactly same gym.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was barely any spectators. It's like you get few tickets and like family and friends come in. So it's like just a handful of spectators. And whenever I went to Vegas to do the promo for this season, I spoke to one of the guys who fought at the previous seasons, and he said like, "Yeah, dude, it's like the craziest thing ever. You don't even see your opponent until the day you fight or something like that, and no entrance music, no nothing. They walk you out. They walk you out. Your opponent. You ready? You ready? Fight. Fight is over. Leave. Next people come in. You're ready. You're ready. Fight.
Yeah. And then Dana makes the decision based on your performance,
Yeah,
whether you
and
get a contract.
and this summer it's a different location because I guess from what I heard they did not like the previous one. So and plus they built this like big facility
Mm.
specifically for that. So yeah, I guess like for past few weeks that was like the first time they used that location. So, but it's still going to be not too many spectators. It's like very small, and I think it's like 5 fights per Tuesday. Like every Tuesday, it's like 5 fights. So it's not even a long show. I guess they just want to get in, get out, make decisions, and move on.
Yeah. It's
So it's
pretty
pretty,
interesting.
yeah.
Now you said you were from New York. What part of New York?
Southampton.
Where is it?
Southampton.
Oh, Long Island.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not far from me. I'm in
Yeah.
Jersey, so
Okay.
it'll take me a while with traffic, but because that Long Island Expressway has always got tons of traffic.
Yeah. It's not too far. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been in St. Louis for like, all right, I've been training for like almost 5 years, and went to Mobile for another 3 before that. So yeah, oh snap, yeah, I've been here for a while now, for like 7-8 years. But I mean, I always go back to New York to like visit my family because everybody's still there.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, I'm actually gonna go to New York on July 20th for 4 days, two
okay.
full days, but like yeah, 2 full days, and I'll be back, and I'll go back again there right after the fight just to chill out and probably hopefully won't have to like heal up or anything, but just go back just to visit. I always try to go back like after the fights or holidays.
Okay. Now, what's your fighting style? Are you more like a ground and pound type of guy because you get your wrestling background, but then you get that boxing edge. You seem like you're pretty apt at it.
Yeah, it's weird. I would say it's up in the air right now. I don't even know. Uh, a lot of people said like, oh, you'll use your wrestling. I guess I'm like 50-50. Um, for like past few fights, people and announcers named me as a more of a striker, just
Okay.
because of like the, I guess it sounds better.
Okay.
And plus, because of all the golden gloves, they kind of use that like, oh, he's a striker, da da da. And even my last fight, they pushed me more as a striker, and they pushed my opponent more as a grappler, because my opponent, his most wins were by submission.
Okay.
But I ended up submitting him, so that was
How'd you
kind of
submit
like,
him?
huh?
How did you submit him?
Rear naked. It wasn't like clean rear naked. It's like I was trying to get it, but then I couldn't sneak the arm behind his head, so I just kind of pretty much avoided what the Khabib did to McGregor, but the hand was like under the jaw.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now that you're in the pro circuit now, is there any particular fighters that you, let's say you get into the UFC, God willing, is there anybody out there in the UFC that he's in the UFC, but I think I could beat him? Is there anybody out there in your division? Because you're in light heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anybody out there that you think you could kind of like, that'd be a good introduction fight for me?
I hadn't looked into that. I think few people asked me that, but honestly, I never even looked in too deeply in a 205 roster. It sounds weird. It's like, why didn't you look at these people? These are your people that you're going to be fighting. This is your job. So it's like, I never really looked into it. Like, sure, like I know all like the bigger names that they push, and like few people from under, but I never really looked in. I was just like more worried about like what I need to do.
Mm.
It's like, okay, no, I just focus on myself, just do what I need to do. And that should work versus everybody, because you're like practicing what works versus everybody, like the main basic things. But I mean, since you say it, it definitely would be a smarter thing to like look in who's there and get familiar with everybody.
Mm.
I mean, you have to, yeah.
Know yourself, dude.
Yeah.
When you get in there, you gotta like
call some people out.
Call some people out, talk some smack. You seem like a calm guy, but which is good. There's nothing wrong with it. Some guys, like Dan Henderson, Randy Couture, they let their fights do the talking for me. Now, I actually admire guys more like that than the guys that talk a lot of smack personally.
Yeah, I hate the smack talk and like the silence before the fight. Like, I was so happy me and my opponent spoke before my last fight. Well, last few fights, me and my opponent spoke. And like, I like that breaking the ice thing. It's like, it's no secret. Like we're going to try to punch each other in the face. Like, I'll try to kill you, you'll try to kill me. But we kind of established that when we signed the contract. But let's just crack jokes. Let's just be funny all the way until then, because I hate the stress. Like, I hate all the tension. So it was funny before my last fight. Me and my opponent, we had to do like sit in the chair and do like a few interviews, just kind of like talk brief history and whatever. So I went first, and my striking coach was talking to their coaches, and they were like laughing and giggling. And then I went to sit with them, and my opponent did the interview. So like, it was me, my coach, and my opponent's coach. Well, we're just like sitting in a circle and just laughing, having a great time. I just
before your match or after the match?
Day before the match.
Really? Okay.
Because I hate the tension. It's like, because people think like, oh, you can't be nice to him, da da da. It's like, that doesn't matter. It's not gonna change of how you fight. Like, we both professionals. We both gonna try to win, and we both know it. So it's not like I'm tricking you into like, oh, I'm such a nice guy, I'm not gonna fight you so hard. No, like, we're just delaying that stressful process at the end of like when it needs to get going. But all until then, let's not get stressy. Let's just have fun. Before the fight, let's get serious and we'll go to work. But I don't want to like talk this, talk that, and get yourself all worked up.
Yeah.
No.
Before I forget, not for you, but anybody watching this, when this goes on YouTube, this is just the first half of the episode. So the rest of it, you guys got to watch the whole podcast. But anyway, we're going to continue with our conversation. Keep going. I just want to throw that out there because people think they're going to watch this whole thing and not go to my podcast. This is to promote you because, I'm like, I kind of heard about you before. I'm like, oh, this guy is going to be on a Contender series. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can help him get his career going. Put him on. This is just going to be on YouTube and on the podcast. So this is
awesome.
But so continue what you were saying. Like, you don't like the tension before a fight.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting because I just interviewed another guy who was like, nah, man, I'm like Nate Diaz. Before I fight, man, I got to have it in my head. I got to hate this guy. And I find that interesting. Like, some people.
Before the fight, yes. Before the fight, yes.
I'm like, do you have to build up some animosity towards the guy before you can get in the ring with him, or what? And it's like you seem like, we're just going to business. We're just here it's a competition. We're going to beat the shit out of each other, but there's no reason. So when you do these conversations, do you call them on the cell phone, or you just hit them up on Facebook? Like, what do you do?
No, none of that. It was more of a, if we do happen to meet each other, like during the weigh-ins.
Okay.
Or, for example, my last fight, me and him had to do a little bit more interview things, so we kind of had to stay behind at the weigh-ins when everyone else left. We just had to stay and do a little bit more interview, so we just kind of were just like alone in a room. So it's just like, all right, I'll start talking. So yeah, but like, yeah, you just make the switch before the fight, like the day of the fight. It's like stress, you're freaking out, you want to throw up, you don't even want to fight, you like want to escape. But like about like half an hour before the fight, you're like starting to make that switch, and like 15 minutes before the fight, it's like it's almost like you're forced not to think about anything else but to get your mind right, just because it's like so close. So it's like automatically just like it makes that switch to like get serious. My few times it was in my first LFA fight, it was weird. It was I did not even feel like I was gonna fight. It was hour before the fight and I'm just chilling. Everyone's laughing around me. I'm like laughing with them. I'm like, it doesn't feel like I'm gonna fight. Like, I'm not nervous. I'm not nothing. Like 5 minutes before the fight, I'm just hanging out. I did my work. I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm not stressing out at all. Like, I'm calm as like I am right now. Like, when I got into the ring, I'm like looking at him. I'm pacing back and forth. Like, I'm looking like I'm like tense. I'm like focused, which I was trying to be, but I was so surprised that my mind was like wandering places, that I was like even like thinking what I'm gonna eat that night, what movies I'll watch, and like the most random things. I was just thinking that had nothing to do with fighting whatsoever. And I was like, that kind of almost was like making me freak out, because I was like, I'm not focused.
Yeah.
At the same time, I performed very, very, very well, because it became almost like a sparring match. Like, I had answers to everything, and I was in control of everything, instead of like kill and just go forward and just go. So because my mind was just like as calm as right now, I could like give whatever answer calmly, like whatever answer to whatever question you have. So I can just like do everything correct and without mistakes, instead of just like go to war and just like stuff is just flying out of the window. So that kind of helped.
Sometimes that's good, though. There's actually a term for that. I forget what that's called, like in the realm of martial arts, where your mind is just empty, you know?
Yeah, but that one, like this one, it wasn't empty. It was like I was like literally surprised of how easily my mind can wander off to like different topics. And like I'm in the cage, like staring at him, and like my mind is thinking. And because I caught myself thinking about more random things, it started like snowballing. Like I started like freaking out because the more I started thinking about random, the more I started thinking about random, and the more my mind was drifting away from the fighting, which kind of made it even easier to deal with the fight.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense, but it was awesome.
And what was the outcome of that fight?
I submitted him in the third.
Ah, nice. Was that the rear naked again, or?
That was rear naked. Yeah, that was versus Eric Murray. He was 3-1 at the moment. I was 2-1 at the moment. So after that fight, we both had exactly the same record, 3-1. So
Now,
yeah, it was good.
yeah. Now, in the current, like in the UFC or whatever organization you look at, like, is there any like fighters that you like always like to watch? You know,
It was
whether it's
always
in your division or whatever.
different. I remember when I first started watching, like within every 6 months or every year, thing like I picked on like a new person. I remember when I first started watching on YouTube, it was mainly Diaz brothers,
Okay.
especially Nick. Like he was the guy I used to like watch all the time. Then for the longest time it was Chris Lieben or Thiago Silva. I'm very happy Chris Lieben is back to the bare knuckle because like when
I was
he
actually just
retired,
talking to somebody about that. Yeah.
yeah, when he retired from UFC, I was like, oh man, like I was like heartbroken, and now he's back. I was like, yeah. And it's funny, in college at MOBAP where I did my undergrad, where I finished my undergrad, there was this one guy who looked exactly like Chris Lieben. He was in my class. I came out and was like, you look like Chris Lieben. He's like, that's the best thing anyone has ever told me. And like apparently no one told him that. And I was like, dude, you look like Chris Lieben. And apparently Chris Lieben was his favorite fighter too. So it was just like funny, most like a random thing. And he looked like him, and he was his favorite fighter. So yeah, it was Chris Lieben, Thiago Silva. Then for like a while it was McGregor. But then like towards the end, the more talking he did, I guess like the more tired I got of it.
Mm.
And right then like Cerrone was for a little bit. And now he's just kind of left and right, a little bit of everybody. But as right now, I don't have like a specific guy.
What do you think of the upcoming John Jones fight and Santos? Who you think he's going to take it again, or?
I think it's just like he has that like he's like, how to explain him? Like I feel he's gonna win. I feel he's gonna pull it off. He has that weird how should I say it? He does everything basic. I mean, but that the basic moves, but they like to like higher understanding. So he does the basic stuff, and he like makes you forget about something, and then he just like commits to that thing that you forgot about it that happened like the previous round. For example, how he just fought Gustafsson. They both kind of went back and forth. Like John kind of feel like had like better of him on the feet, and he kind of did like few like takedown attempts, but in whatever round it was finished, he actually like committed that takedown.
Yeah.
So he got into like Gustafsson in the head that like Gustafsson can stuff them, and then he actually surprised them with like actual legitimate takedown. So I feel like he like goes from like thing to thing. It's like he makes people forget about thing that he just did previously, and then he just like surprises them like in the later round. Because it's not like he like knocks people out with like one punch. He just like picks them apart, little by little, and then he catches with that one thing that people like forgot about it that like happened like in the previous round or something. Because he doesn't throw that same thing over and over and over again. He like does one thing, and then he does something completely off. Then he goes back to his like 1-2s. Then he does another trick, and then he like he's not going to do that specific trick for like a round or two, and then he like really commit that trick like later. So it's weird. It's like very, what's the word? I'll just use word smart.
Yeah, he's got an excellent sense of distance.
Yeah.
Because you got to be able to control the fight, control the distance. He's fight long, he can close the distance when he needs to.
Yeah, I actually like his those. Yeah, I like his those leg check things that he does.
Yeah.
Actually, today I watched him versus Gustafsson, so I was like, oh, I'm like actually watching what happens, and he was like throwing those a lot, and I was like, damn, I should like throw those in my game because.
And you know what's surprising? He does that so often, and I think the only other person that does that occasionally is Holly Holmes, right? Think about it. How many guys do you see throwing that type of kick? I mean, the old days of the UFC, they used to throw the what's his name? Like in the old, I'm talking like way back with Hoist, the guy that fought the sumo guy. He used to kick a lot to the knees too. I just can't think of it. Acme, I don't know, blonde-haired guy, big thick guy. Back in the days when they had no weight divisions. But think about it. John Jones does that same friggin' kick in every single fight, and no one else seems to do it to anybody else, right? Now, here's an interesting question for you, right? Now, you get into the UFC, right? God willing, right? You do well in the Contender Series. He's in your division.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, obviously, you got a while to go, right? Because you got to make a name for yourself in UFC. Well, let's say you get there, right? A year from now, 2 years from now, he's still in 205. How would you fight him? That's an interesting question for you. What would you do?
Against that specific technique?
No, against John Jones in general. Like, how would you fight him? Saying, like, know what you know now. Like, what aspects would you bring to the game to see if you can beat him? You think you would wrestle him more? You think you would box him more?
I think by that time, within the few years, it's not like I'm gonna develop a different style. I think it's just what I'm doing, what I'm focusing on. That is just gonna become better because we're not trying to like throw flashy kicks or anything or do anything crazy. It's just like I'm still trying to like make my jabs better. I'm trying to like make my 1-2s better, my 2s better. It's not like I'm focusing on some kind of crazy feint, something beautiful, magical. Because for example, like best boxers, when you look at it, they're not doing anything crazy that we haven't seen. It's just their jab or their cross is just that much better. It's not like they like doing a new move. Like I'm throwing 1-2s and the best boxer is throwing 1-2s, but why are they connecting better? Well, I guess I should say I would rather compare with like wrestling. If people understand that better. For example, if you take high school wrestler, he shoots the double, great. You take a college wrestler, he shoots the double, great. Then you take Olympian, for example, John Burroughs, what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like his main thing is double. It's like, okay, all three people shoot doubles and they somewhat look the same. But how in the world that Olympian is just like off, like way better than anyone else, even though like from the outside, it somewhat looks the same. It's just that like understanding of it and that like perfection of that millimeter and timing and like recognizing like how far your opponent is and like that little body language. So it's not like he did any different move. No, he does the same double leg as in like high school kids do. Like it's a move, it's a double leg, but he just has this like such a higher understanding. So I feel like that would be like same thing with my style. It's like I don't try to find different moves. I just try to get my boxing to better understanding, my kickboxing to better understanding, and my grappling too. So it's not like you would see something flash or crazy. You would see very basic thing, but it would just get get to people somehow better. So I feel I would fight John Jones the way I do now. It's just by that time, whatever I do, it would just be better. Yeah,
You just have better technique by the time.
Yeah, we just have a better understanding.
By the time you met up in the ring, in the cage. That's actually a good answer. That shows your education there, man.
That's why I went to college.
It's paying off, right?
Yeah.
So you're a thinking fighter. That's good. That's good. Now, before you got into your first boxing Golden Gloves match, how long were you boxing for? Did you box in high school or?
No, I mean we did the back in my traditional martial arts school. We did the some boxing.
Okay.
It wasn't there wasn't too much a food for thought of how to fight within the boxing. It was mainly just here's the combo, throw it as hard as you can.
Okay.
So it kind of helped me develop the power, and just it gave me that the basic. But once I started to train MMA and actually went to to the gym where people fight, I started I used it, so it gave me that good base. But I started able to understand of exactly when I use it, because it was weird. It's doing mitts and all that. It's oh, I'm so fast, I'm so strong, da da da. But the second I had to go spar somebody who understands the movement and distance, all the years of boxing at the karate place meant literally nothing.
It's a lot different when you get in there with a ring when someone knows what they're doing, right?
I couldn't hit nobody. I couldn't move.
Yeah.
Everything flew out of the window. So I still don't throw it away what I did, because it gave me a nice, good, solid base of a structure of the body positioning.
Yeah.
But once I started really training, then it's just I started polishing it and using that with actual experience with people in front of me and moving, and when do I need to throw things. So that was my first boxing training. But when I came to MMA, it was just pretty much just, all right, go ahead and polish it. So we sparred every weekend, added drills, learned from other fighters. And the novice Golden Gloves was my first boxing fight. So pretty much my game plan was just keep everything just stiff and just lock it out. So I was just throwing stiff 1-2, just bah, 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 snapping head back, throwing short, snappy hooks, and finished in the first round. The final of novice was actually harder than final of open.
Really?
Yeah, because the final of novice, I remember the guy was 4-0 at the time with all 4 finishes. And it was a funny story, actually. So I fought Monday. I had a bye on Wednesday, and fights would have been on Friday. The finals would have been on Friday. So Wednesday I had a bye. So I was okay, I'm going to watch those 2 guys fight, and the winner, I'll have, it'll be in the finals with me. So I'm waiting. Okay, 2 hours go by. I'm watching fight after fight. It's okay, I see one heavyweight warming up. I see other heavyweight. Okay, they're about to go. Okay, I don't see the other heavyweight. One of the fighters just left 10 minutes before the fight started. They found him walking home or something, because he heard that the guy had 4 knockouts. He was 4-0. So and he other guy was pretty big too, but he was just F this, I'm done. And I can understand it, because maybe it was his first fight too. So he was just this is not worth it. I was wow, okay, I waited all this time, and I didn't get to see how my opponent fights. So Friday when we fought, both of us just came in guns blazing. We were just swinging left and right, and my lungs were dying. I probably wasn't breathing. I was just swinging, and I was dead tired. And I was okay, I know the work that I put in. If I'm dying, he is definitely dying. So I just kept coming after him, and then finished him in the first round. So
Wow.
within the first round, our gas tank was just done, but we were like still just throwing as hard as we could. And what happened with the open, the guy was just more experienced, so he was more patient. Well, the first guy, he was young, hungry, like murder everybody, just go in and throw hate. While the open guy, he had more fights, so he was just standing and he was just like peppering and not going to kill. So I finished him in second round.
You're a beast, man. He's knocking people out. Crazy, crazy. Now, it's kind of interesting, though. I think you're like the second person I met, like they come from a very strong wrestling background. And then they never had all those years of grappling, and then all of a sudden they start boxing, and they just take off. I'm wondering if it's the mechanics, like somehow you build up like some kind of unique strength through wrestling that transfers into the punches you guys throw.
For me, it was more like a new shiny toy. It was almost like I did so much wrestling that it's just like striking, new thing, let's do it. So I think I was like more excited about striking than grappling, even though like, I still trained grappling, but I was like striking. Less in my mind, I was like, okay, I wrestled for all this time. I need to spark up my striking because I have no idea how to do it. Plus I was a little bit more excited about it too. So I think my old mind was just about like hit. Right now, I'm back to 50-50.
Oh, and you're training.
Not training, but like in the fight itself. Right now, like I feel I'm like back to 50-50. And if people ask you grappler or striker, it's like right now I wouldn't know. Like right now, everybody's tough. It's not amateur no more. You can't just like strike with everybody or grapple with everybody. So right now it's literally anything can happen. So you better be liking both of the things because you'll have to do it. So I kind of made a deal with myself. It's like, okay, you better like both things, striking and grappling, because everyone's good. You don't know who you're going to run into, and you'll definitely need to do both in the same fight. So it's no more amateur thing.
So how are you supporting yourself now? Do you have sponsors, or you work and then you do this as well, or?
So what happened for the last 3 years, I think, after I left, I had some money saved up.
Okay.
And when I finished college, I was working at the Mandarin Lounge, which was a club in St. Louis.
Okay.
Pretty much my whole team has worked there. And so I did that, but I was glad that I had some money saved up because I was losing money, especially during the time when I had no fights. So I was like working on the weekends, plus having some clients on the side, just training them. And this past year, those fights helped me. And in January, my job closed up. So I was like, wow, okay, I don't know what to do. But I won the LFA title. And I picked up a few extra sponsors that like helped me monthly. And both of them are from the Hamptons. One is Hill Street Boxing.
Okay, there you go.
Hill Street Boxing. Yeah, so they are a boxing gym in Southampton, and so they helped me a lot. They helped me with the bills, and also Montauk Iced Tea. And I don't know if you heard of it. So they also helping me with my bills a little bit here and there. So it's like this is the first time where it's like, wow, like I got to the point where it's like people helping me. While before it's like, okay, you fight this, you fight that, no big deal. But now it's like, you won an LFA title. Okay, that's awesome. Now you might be in UFC. So now it's like you're starting to have like all these people who like support you and see potential. While before that, it's like, yeah, you have potential, but it's like there was like few questions. Are you going to keep going? Are you going to make it? Because a lot of people either stop or they don't make it. So for me, since they saw that I can do it, plus they were within the circle of friends, so they believed in me, they knew me. So So yeah, now they helping me, and it's a big help. It like really helps me to concentrate on just fighting and not looking for jobs here and there, because I really decided to do this the correct way.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, like, they go on the parties on the weekends, they still drink, they do this, they don't rest enough. Me, it's like I wake up, I go train, I go home, I eat, I take a nap, wake up, go train, go home, cook, go to bed. Like I don't go out, I don't do nothing. The second like I get to opportunity, take a nap. The second I can cook, meal prep. So it's I feel I'm taking it serious, and I feel that got noticed. Because if I would be like somewhat training, but then going on the party on the weekends, it would raise a question: is this guy even like serious? Like, he should be resting. Like, he's talking all big game that he's gonna make it, he's this and that, but you should be resting right now. Why are you out there drinking or partying? Go to bed. You have a crazy workout tomorrow morning. So yeah, my life, it's pretty simple and steady. Wake up, train, cook, eat, sleep, wake up, go train, cook again.
Important lifestyle.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. So that's what you got to do to make it. And I haven't made it yet, but it's like everybody says, my coach is my striking coach. They big mentors, and they like, keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Like, because before, when I did not have success, or when I didn't have fights, they were just like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. It'll come. Just keep doing what you're doing. It'll come. Your time will come. So now it's like, I see like, okay, LFA title. And then it's like, okay, like Contender Series. So it kind of gave me that sense that it's true. Like, your time will come as long as you're consistent with doing the right thing, and just don't stop. The time will come. The time will come. You'll have opportunity. Use it. Then another one will come. Then another one will come. So it's just consistent on doing the right thing and not getting off track, and starting to do like freaking cocaine in clubs and having everything fall apart.
Exactly. So how did it work with the Contender Series? Was someone from the UFC watching your last fight? Or did you, like, how does that work?
The LFA title is like one of the bigger titles out there. And it's like, if you win LFA title, you pretty much everybody who wins LFA title are very, very likely to get like called on UFC.
Okay.
But I guess right now it's they decided to create that Contender Series almost like a tryout for UFC.
Okay.
So so I'm sure like my manager made some calls, and he made sure like, yo, I got this LFA champion. Either put him on UFC or a Contender Series. So I guess they just decided to put me on a Contender Series, and just look at me one more time before they make a bigger decision with me.
Oh, okay. That's great, though, man.
Yeah, the Contender Series, now they like found that middle ground, because before I was just like straight to UFC. Now it's like, okay, let's do some kind of middle ground to test them one more time to see how they deal under pressure, and then maybe we'll sign them.
So if anybody wanted to get in contact with you, you know, like future sponsors or anything like that, like, how would they get in touch with you? You got like a Facebook page, or?
I have a Facebook page and Instagram.
Okay.
That's pretty much my two biggest things, Instagram and Facebook.
So they could just search for your name and you'll be there, right? Do you have a website set up or anything like that?
Nope. One day I will.
Yeah.
Everybody says like, you get on the Twitter. I was like, I tried. It was complicated. I was like,
I find Instagram complicated, believe it or not. I find Twitter easier. Yeah, because you always got to put a picture. I just want to put a video up. You always have to put a picture and then put a hyperlink to the video or whatever.
You can do videos too. Videos and the pictures just as easy.
I don't know. I'm an old guy, man. I like things simpler. Well, anyway, Julius, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. If anybody's watching this video, don't forget, there's some more left over for this episode later on. And don't forget to check him out on the UFC Contender Series. This guy's the new upcoming prospect.
That's right.
All right, guys. We'll be back.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.